And would you look at that?
Jim, I have hung around some creepy chicks in my day, but I got to tell you one thing. This one takes the cake.
She would make Manson blush because Charlie Kruel is unbalanced.
Yeah, this girl is definitely way off the charts here.
Yeah, look out, Sorg. Our ringside.
Oh no, look out. She lost her mask. She's lost her mind here for a second. She's berating the fans about her mask.
I wonder if she's taking her medication today, Paul.
I don't think she's taken her medication in years.
But we are going to see the return of a Southern Wrestling independent legend. Nearly 19 years in the game. Fantasy is back here in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. When it comes to the southern region of the United States, Paul, you know this girl very well.
Oh, yeah.
She's done it all.
I've spent a lot of time in the South in my wrestling career, and they don't make them any better than fantasy. This young lady is one for the books. She will fight you with every last breath she has. But, you know, let's face it, Jim, I don't know if conventional wrestling strategy is going to take it here tonight, because Charlie Kruel is about as unconventional as you can be.
I don't know if even Dirty Dutch Mantel would know how to solve the equation. It is Charlie Kruel.
Not a chance in the world. And Fantasy seems a little confused here as to what Charlie Kruel's up to with that mask.
As she talks to that thing, Paul.
Yeah, but does it talk back?
Introducing first, being accompanied to the ring by Masuku. She has escaped from death row. She is a maniac. She is the beautiful nightmare. Ladies and gentlemen, she is Charlie Kruel. And her opponent, from Chattanooga, Tennessee, she is every man's fantasy and every woman's worst nightmare. She is the guilt still coming off the top rope. She is the self-made legend. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fantasy.
I'm not scared. She's my
The gilf that still comes off the top rope, Paul.
Hey, that's fantastic.
What is a gilf, Paul?
I'll tell you later when we're off the air. I don't want to get kicked out again.
And Charlie Kruel is still,
I guess getting instructions from the mask, for lack of a better
term. She just yelled back at the mask, Paul, so apparently it does answer.
I guess it does talk back to her.
I think with Charlie Kruel, it's not what diagnosis, but how many diagnoses.
Got that right.
Angel Gate action continues here for IndyWrestling.us and the PWN Network, October 26th of 2019. I am still Jim LaMotta. You are still Paul Atlas.
Yes, I am.
And we talked about the tried and true traditional wrestling of Fantasy, and we're seeing it on display here as she is really wrenching on the wrist lock.
That southern base, that southern style of wrestling, the mat form of wrestling that Fantasy has brought up and has cultivated in her career, she's going to show you a lot tonight. Look how seamlessly she transitions from move to move.
And we heard during our introductions that Fantasy is a native of Tennessee, and we know that that was a hotbed for independent wrestling for decades.
Without a doubt.
She brings so much experience to the table. But I believe Charlie Kruel was she was trying to bend the fingers in that exchange.
Yeah, I've been to Tennessee several times in my wrestling career, and you know one thing I found out? Asking directions is a two-part question.
I'm still wondering what a gilf is, Paul.
I'll tell you off the air. I'm not getting kicked off again.
And to your point, Paul, again, she is literally wrestling circles around Charlie Kruel here. This is one of the great...
Wow, I don't think she wants to give up.
One of the great things about this Angel Gate project, Paul, one of the many great things is the variety of athletes that have made their way here to McKeesport as Charlie Kruel just buried a headbutt right into the nose of Fantasy.
All right, we have women from all over the country and all over the world. They've traveled all over the world coming to Angel Gate Wrestling.
Yeah, you really never know who's going to show up here.
And sometimes who isn't.
Oh, man, what a kick. Do you hear those shots?
Oh, just thudding off the chest of Fantasy. And apparently our audience here is getting under the skin of Charlie Kruel. Who'd have thought?
Fantasy trying to route. Oh, man.
Wow. I think she went through and hit the steel post, not the turnbuckle.
Either that or the top of her head clipped the bottom of that buckle. Either way, that was some nasty impact. As Charlie Kruel is trying to asphyxiate Fantasy.
And look at how fast we went from that traditional style of wrestling down to just kick you in the face and punch you in the mouth.
Cover here. Not enough body-on-body contact there. Paul, if you can, I mean, you've mentioned it that you had wrestled extensively throughout the South. How does the Southern style differ from what we usually see here in the Northeast?
Well, traditionally, the Southern-based wrestling is more of a mat-style wrestling, more catch-as-catch-can, not the traditional maneuvers from the ropes and off-the-top ropes that you see a lot in the Northeast regions. They still, to this day, believe in a good, solid wrestling base above everything else.
And Charlie Kruel got distracted, and she got kicked upside the back of the head and went crashing to the concrete, and Fantasy's going to take a chance. And that's why it's taking a chance. Leg sweep. Fantasy goes crashing into the apron.
And her head snapped off the back of that apron. And, you know, there's not a lot of padding out there. That's a solid steel ring frame.
The way that Charlie Kruel just savors these moments of her opponent being in agony is truly disturbing.
Yeah, we talked about the nature of Scarlett earlier and the way she loves in dishing out punishment. I just think Charlie Kruel enjoys pain either way. It doesn't matter to her.
And Fantasy's showing some of that Southern fire. Some of that Ricky Morton fire.
Yeah, she's a good old girl. Oh, but she got caught there.
Oh, look out. This is bad news here. Oh, man.
Snap marrying her off that top turnbuckle.
That's a good way to compress the vertebrae.
5 minutes has gone by in this matchup. 5 minutes.
Now, that was a mistake because Charlie Kruel got so aggressive, she actually ended up pulling the shoulder off of the canvas.
Yeah, she grabbed that arm and actually rolled Fantasy out of that pinning position.
And that shows you how unbalanced Charlie Kruel is. She doesn't come in there with a strategy. She just wants to hurt and maim an opponent. The more that she can hurt somebody inside those ring ropes, the better off she is for the night, as she just spiked Fantasy into that buckle.
Look out now. She's got Fantasy really down and out here. Alrighty then.
That was a little vulgar. Oh, man.
And that was a little aggressive. Here she comes one more time.
Paul, I don't want to doubt Fantasy, because as we said, she is a Southern independent wrestling legend, but she could be in real trouble here. She could be in real jeopardy. She could get hurt.
Yeah, Fantasy can usually fight her way out of most positions, but I think she is complete. This has to be it.
And well, again, Charlie Kruel cradled the head there, and that actually assisted in Fantasy being able to kick out. I'm sorry, I'm going to call it as I see it.
Yeah, I think the little unbalanced nature of Charlie Kruel here is starting to become a detriment to her, but maybe she got some good advice from the mask right there.
And Fantasy knows that her back's against the wall. She's fighting with desperation.
She's going to throw that traditional Southern style out the window for big, big, heavy hits.
And it's unorthodox, but it's effective. And Fantasy's hitting another gear,
She's
Paul.
fired up right now. That Southern fire is coming to the top right now.
Tuesday's gone with the wind, and so may be Charlie Kruel by the end of this thing.
Fantasy going to the top now, setting her up.
Beautiful snapmare off the ropes, but how much damage did Fantasy do to herself in that exchange?
Both these young ladies.
What a physical matchup.
Fighting desperately to get to their feet right now.
Both women up here.
Fantasy's hooking her up here.
Oh, what a throat thrust. Innovative backbreaker. I've never seen that variation.
And she got her.
Did it.
Charlie Kruel gets the victory.
That quick, that impactful. And I don't know if young Tatiana Rose wants to get involved trying to talk to Charlie Kruel.
Well, unfortunately, this is her job tonight, is to talk to our competitors. And yeah, she may be in the, she might want to approach this one a little more delicate.
Charlie Kruel, can I get a few words?
I guess not.
Like you said, Paul, the young lady's just trying to do her job.
Oh, yeah.
Fantasy, you had an incredibly hard-fought one match tonight. Did not get to pull out the victory. Looks like you're still in good spirits. Yeah, because I don't quit. I'll never quit. Yeah, Charlie Kruel, man, you got that match. But then it's on the others. And when it's all said and done, I will walk out of here champion, because I will never, ever quit.
This fiery Southern Belle putting it flat out. She is not going to quit.
Well, Fantasy obviously emotional because she's dedicated so much of her life to this sport.
And, oh.
Where's that ringing up the lady? Whatever, you?
Charlie
wait a minute.
Kruel now she's ready for her interview, I guess.
Get the hell away.
Well, again, she's doing her job here, Paul.
Yeah.
Let your little friend talk. Yeah.
You see that? Well, what's your name, sweetie? What's your name?
Tatiana.
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay, then. The Rock has spoken.
Victoria's Secret ripoff. Come on, that's funny, stupid laugh. So tell me. I asked for like an actual interview with somebody actually, better than you.
She has no reason to be saying all this.
Are you an eighth grader? Tell me, are you in middle school, sweetie? Actually, Charlie, I'm training to be a wrestler. Oh! So you're not 13 years old, okay. 14. Let me tell you. So, you're supposed to be training here, in a town in Pennsylvania. Now we're supposed to be training out there. You're telling me, okay, you know what? If you want to record mouth with me, little girl, you want to record mouth with me and that suit here, then I'll see you tonight. Because congratulations, you're gonna have your first match tonight against me, honey.
Challenge thrown out.
You might want to pay for your funeral. Because I sure in the hell isn't.
Now, wait a minute. I don't even know if we can sanction this, Paul.
Hey, talk to Ego. He seems to be in charge.
God help us all.
Nick, I'm going to need you to take over tonight.
He already did.
Because I have a match tonight.
Well, there you go. Tatiana Rose is